You're an inspiration to our entire organization.
Welcome to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast. We're going to be talking the done-for-you marketing and sales strategies proven to work with boutique fitness gyms to increase quality lead flow and grow your revenue. Don't try to be a professional marketer and waste tons of money. Let the experts at Lasso do it for you. And now, here are your hosts, Blake Ruff and Sherman Merricks.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is Tommy over here at Lasso Framework. I wanted to hop on today because topic of discussion I've been having with my clients lately and kind of leads coming into our pipeline. The difference between lead quality and lead readiness. So I think sometimes when we're talking about our entire marketing funnel, we got to remember that there's different stages to the funnel, and each stage kind of represents how big is the gap between the person and what we do, right? What's the problem they have? What's the solution we offer? And the gap that I like to call it is like the know, like, and trust gap. Okay. Now, people who are more unfamiliar with our business, right? Unaware, unfamiliar, may not even be in a window where they're necessarily buying anything right now. That know, like, and trust gap is going to be quite wide. Whereas, you know, if I have somebody who comes to my gym and they introduce their spouse to me, that gap is going to be a lot smaller, right? Let's say, hey, like I know somebody who goes there. They've had amazing experience, amazing time. It's not going to take as much effort on my part to build know, like, and trust with this person, right? So if they have a similar problem and they know I can solve it, they probably trust me a lot more than someone who is just introduced to my business, right? So when we get into this discussion in regards to paid marketing, one of the things I want you guys to remember is like Facebook marketing, what it does really, really well is it brings awareness to complete strangers about our business and how we exist, right? Sometimes I think people want to treat Facebook ads similar to like website opt-ins or referrals where we assume they have a problem, they know our business exists, they think we are the ones in particular that can solve the problem that they have, and they're willing to act on the problem that they have right now. Okay, and more often than not, especially in paid advertising and in Facebook marketing, and even Google AdWords and any type of paid marketing, that's not necessarily the case. Okay, so historically, when I've given projections to clients about what's like a healthy conversion rate, we tend to see about 10% from lead to close, right? So even if we're introducing you to a brand new group of people who didn't know you exist, and we're using ads to get their attention, speak to their needs, and present you as the solution to the problem, at least enough to get their opt-in information, right, to start a conversation. Lead to close, we're typically looking at 10%, okay? Now, does that make them less qualified as a lead just because they're not necessarily ready to buy right now? No, in fact, the 90% that don't necessarily close or commit right out of the gate, more often than not, it's because that gap of know, like, and trust and their readiness to buy right now. Okay, so it doesn't make them a less qualified lead. It just means that they're not ready to buy right now. They're still in the process of searching for a solution. Maybe it's in the back of their mind that they need to get back into a healthy routine, and they're considering your business amongst others as to whether or not you can solve the problem they have. So when we think of lead quality in our world, in my mind, lead quality comes down to if we as your agency are presenting your business in a light that isn't accurate. And I'll give you an extreme example. Let's just say you're a functional fitness gym, CrossFit gym, but we're putting out ads that show like a boutique spin studio, right? A boutique yoga studio, Pilates studio. And we're saying like, hey, like come do strength training. And then someone clicks on that and they start engaging with you and they're like, whoa, wait a minute. Like this is not what I was expecting. That's where I would consider like, hey, that's pretty poor lead quality, but that's on us presenting you in a inaccurate light. Never happens. Never happens, you know, when we're working with people. The other one I think that's fair nowadays is trying to get out in front of people where from a socioeconomic standpoint, they are never interested in buying your services at the price point that you're offering. And that's why we're so delicate with, not even delicate, actually, we're pretty unapologetic about, like, we don't like selling free stuff. We don't like selling clickbait stuff, because more often than not, we're attracting somebody that isn't looking for your business as a long-term solution. They're looking at it as a quick fix, or they perceive it as being cheap. So then when they get in front of you and you're like, hey, by the way, this starts at $150 and works its way up into the maybe thousands of dollars if you're running personal training, that would be a very unqualified lead. Well, not even unqualified, like in terms of lead quality, that's not the best quality lead, because what it does is it puts you in a situation where there's a lot of pressure on you to try and create opportunity in front of someone, where in reality, guys, like, some people just don't have the means to pay what we charge in our business, right? Like, and it's not, what we do is the luxury. It's not, besides rent and food and water and all this stuff, like, what we do is like champagne problems, right? So that's where I say, like, lead quality kind of matters. Now, you're going to get some hardcore sales guys saying, like, no, like, you could sell anybody. Yeah, but I think you start to border on the line of being unethical when you're forcing somebody to operate outside of their means to commit to something that's like a couple $100. Now, there's sometimes where it's like life-threatening stuff where, like, someone needs to make an initial investment, but they typically have like health insurance to be able to cover that kind of stuff, right? But like in our world, guys, like, very rarely is it like, hey, it's life or death that you commit to my 12-week strength program right now, right? Usually it's not the case. And then there's the gray area where it's like, hey, you may be operating a little bit outside your means, but this is so important to you now, you're willing to see it as an investment and do so. Okay, right? So there's some nuance here. All of that to say, guys, like, most of the time, it's not a lead quality problem that we're having in our business. It's unfair expectations as to their ability and willingness to commit right now based on that gap of know, like, and trust. And that's where things like making sure you have good systems in place, you're posting on your organic socials on a consistent basis, you have a clean website that has calls to action, that's very clear on who you serve and the problems you solve, all super, super important, because all those things work together to start to close the know, like, and trust factor around your business. Things like testimonials, things like clean pictures of people with smile on their faces where it looks accessible and it looks like, like someone can look at those pictures and say, like, I can see myself inside your facility. It's not like, the gorillas with their shirts off and like getting after it, right? Like, sometimes that can be overly intimidating to the general population, right? There's some gyms where, like, that's what they're going for, and that's how we would present you to the marketplace to filter out those that are looking for that. But you guys know what I mean, right? It's kind of like the know, like, and trust factor, like all the other parts of your marketing process and funnel and systems, they're there to close that gap of know, like, and trust, right? So at the top of the funnel, meta ads are building awareness around your business. No one would know necessarily about your business, and we're presenting to them your business as a potential solution to their problem. And you may stop some people and say, like, yeah, that speaks to me. Here's my information. But I don't know anything else about you other than, like, I've been scrolling and you caught my attention for 3 seconds. I engaged with you. And then everything after that is not a marketing problem anymore. It's a sales system problem. And that's why we harp on that so much here at Lasso. It's easy to get you guys leads, but very rarely are leads, especially qualified leads, quality leads, the problem. It's the systems you have in place to close that gap of know, like, and trust. At a base level, you're converting at 10%. If you're doing a little bit better than that, that means you're getting really, really good at refining those systems. So, guys, we're not pushing unqualified leads into your system. I think you need to take a step back and realize that it's not that they're unqualified, it's that they are the furthest away from choosing you as the solution to their problem. And it's incumbent upon us through our sales process and nurture process, start building that trust, start getting out in front of them, multiple touch points, education through emails, personalized text message where you actually care, right? Using things like voice memos, or even like things that don't come across as being robotic. That's where we start to build that trust. So take that into consideration the next time you're on a call with us and you're coming to us saying, guys, like, I want quality leads. In my mind, as long as we're not being reckless with presenting your business in a way that's not 100% accurate, or we're using clickbait or whatever, most of the people that are opting in are very qualified. They have said that the solution you provide is potentially what I need for the problem I have. And now what are you going to do about it, right? Like, we just started dating, and now we got to get to know each other. And do I actually like you? And do I actually see a commitment with you? And blah, 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 right? Like, that's like, we always like to give the analogy of dating because it makes the most sense. But excuse me, it's similar, right? It's like, hey, like, we just got introduced to each other, and you're asking me to commit to something out of the gates. That's not how relationships work. That's not how service-based businesses work. So think about that. Take it into consideration. We provide quality leads. Lead readiness is really the question you have to ask. And the best way to increase the readiness of someone being able to commit is relying on the other systems you have in place from a lead nurture standpoint and the other channels you have for marketing to close that gap of know, like, and trust. All right. With that, you guys have a good rest of your day. I'll see you.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to the Gym Marketing Made Simple podcast with Blake Ruff and Sherman Merricks. We hope you enjoyed. We believe marketing should increase revenue and not waste money. So book your free call today. Head on over to lassoframework.com. That's lassoframework.com and find the right words, get more customers, and increase your revenue. We'll see you here next time.